What's up, guys? This is Zach again with New Angle Sports Talk. Tonight, Game 7, Denver Nuggets versus San Antonio Spurs. A big game, a lot of fun. It did not, well, okay, if you watched the game, it was really, really boring for like the first 42 to 45 minutes of the game. But the last couple minutes of the game, fantastic. The last, I'd say probably 3 minutes. So we're going to run through this, guys. Like usual, the highlights will be on the screen so you guys can follow along a little bit. I might be a little bit ahead or a little bit behind the highlights, but just kind of stick with me as well. There's a lot that happens at the very last of the fourth quarter, and you guys will see that when it comes up. But this is a big game. Obviously, the Nuggets probably have the edge in this series because it's Game 7. It's the hometown crowd. Denver is loud as heck, like I said in some of my other videos, as far as some crowds that just play really well, or some teams that play really good in front of their hometown crowds. Denver is loud, and they get after it, and their fans really keep them accountable. They hold them accountable for playing well on their home court. So, fun game to watch. Crowd was pumped up from the beginning, just like normal, just like any Nuggets game, honestly. But probably the biggest reason why this was such a big game for the Denver Nuggets is they have not won a playoff series in 10 years. So their crowd was even more behind them than normal. So, and it really showed up the first, well, I guess the whole game. You'll see it as we go through. I don't want to give away too much until you get towards the end of the video here. But the Spurs came out, and they shot as bad as you probably can in order to kind of stay in the game. This is a really weird game, honestly. The Spurs just couldn't make anything. Neither team did very good at three-pointers, by the way, at all. If you look at the team statistics from shooting three-pointers, the San Antonio Spurs shot 26%, and the Denver Nuggets shot 10%. So the Denver Nuggets didn't shoot very good at all. Neither did the Spurs. But just jumping right in, as you can see in the highlights here, Denver Nuggets played some swarming defense. So they really got after it on defense. Jokic started really strong as well, too. 9 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 big blocks as well, too, in the first quarter. He was pumped up. Like I said, that crowd was behind them. I think their whole team played really well, and it really messed with the Spurs a little bit. This San Antonio Spurs shot 5 of 24 in the first quarter, so they didn't do very good at all. Denver's big thing, like the big story in the first quarter specifically on why Denver was able to get out into a pretty big lead to start off the game, is because of second chance points and rebounds as well. That was really the big story. In the first quarter, Denver had 22 rebounds, and the Spurs had 10 rebounds in the first quarter. So obviously there's a huge discrepancy in hustle and boxing out and fundamentals and just being locked in and get engaged in, because that's how you tell if a team is usually engaged, is if they can do the small things like boxing out, getting to loose balls, getting rebounds, and staying on the glass, things like that as well too. And it just obviously didn't happen tonight for the San Antonio Spurs. Also, but one highlight though with the Spurs was Rudy Gay did have 9 points. He was really probably the only bright side of the Spurs tonight. He wasn't their leading scorer. Oh no, I'm sorry. Yes, he was. He was the leading scorer, 21 points tonight. But in the first quarter, he specifically was really like the only thing that was good. Second quarter, though, we'll swing over to that. Patty Mills hit a really good corner three to kind of get them started, get them rolling in the second quarter as well, too. But it came right back down to Denver and just playing good offense and good transition defense as well, too. So Denver, I just love seeing teams have good outlet passes and getting out and running in the fast break. And Denver has like so many different passers. It's not just Jokic either. It's anybody who grabs the ball, even Millsap as well too, who can just get players out. They're running down the lane, running down the sideline or whatever, or straight up the middle if they want. And then the passer can get them out and throw these really long, like full court passes, and really get the whole offense running for Denver. And that actually happened in quarter two. You're going to see the highlight here in just a second if you haven't already as well too. But again, they got onto really good, easy looks, and this is kind of their thing. They either got good fast break opportunities, getting layups and getting easy shots like that, or they were getting wide open threes and getting good looks from threes. Now, they weren't making them, like I said. They didn't make them, but at least they had good looks. And on another night, they probably do make those. But also to talk about more hustle and things like that is Denver they do a lot of, in their offense, they do a lot of cutting as well too. Jokic is always, or Paul Millsap or whoever is running, even Plumlee as well too. All of those big men over there, they're really good passers, and they stay very active in looking for the right pass to make. And one part of that offense is getting good players to cut. So Jamal Murray or Torrey Craig or any of those other guys, Will Barton, or any of the guards or the point guards or even the wings as well too, that can cut and get easy looks at the basket at layups. It happens, and that's kind of what their offense is really good at. And that was no exception tonight either. Jokic had really good post moves tonight as well too. He's so lethal on the post. It's not even funny. When your shots aren't falling though from three, like I said, that they just weren't making very good threes. They weren't dropping tonight. The best thing that you can do is get closer to the basket so that rim gets like wider. At least it feels like it. You have a better shot of making it. So it's good to shoot threes, obviously, but if you're not feeling it, get as close to the basket as you can. And Jokic is one of the best players in the NBA to be able to do that, and to get good post-up looks, get good. He's got such good footwork. And again, talking about the cutting as well too in their offense, it's just built into that. If they can't get a good look, or if their shots aren't falling from the outside, their offense is designed so that the post player or the big man, whoever it is that's in there, is either going to have good post moves, which all of them pretty much do, or they're going to look for the cutter and get easy layups either way. Now, one big downfall or downside, I guess, on the Spurs tonight was the play from DeMar DeRozan. So DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry as well, when they were with the Raptors, they were known as being very, very inconsistent in the playoffs. Like, I wouldn't even say inconsistent, actually. I would just say, like, they just didn't show up at all in the big moments. Well, DeMar DeRozan did not show up either, especially in the first half. He didn't get his first bucket until 1 minute and 45 seconds left in the half. It was a good dunk. He got a dunk, but, I mean, his jump shot wasn't hitting at all. In fact, by the end of the first quarter, or the first half, he shot 1 of 10. So his shot just was not dropping. If it wasn't for that dunk, I mean, he might have been scoreless going into halftime as well. But there have been some players that have been in the series so far in the playoffs, like, for example, James Harden as well, who just had a terrible first half or first three quarters, who actually had a better end game than when they started. They ended better than they actually started. So you'll see that a little bit more in just a second as well too. But another big thing that I wanted to talk about as well was Mason Plumlee had a big dunk at the end of the half. He had a putback dunk, and Denver had the lead 47-34 jumping into the second half. But like I said, the Spurs had only scored about 34 points. And fun fact for the day, for the video rather, I guess, Kevin Durant had scored more points by himself in the half of Game 6 against the Clippers than the San Antonio Spurs did as a team at all in the first half. So fun fact, just want to bring that up. I found it actually pretty interesting how inconsistent the Spurs were, which is so random. It's so weird for them. But, obviously Kevin Durant is an all-time scorer, but just wanted to bring that up anyways. Now, going into the second half, you would expect that the primary focus for the Spurs would be to get their offense involved and get them running as well, too. Forbes, he shot a layup and he missed the layup. I think it was Forbes, if I remember. It might have been White. I don't remember, but I think it was Forbes. Missed a pretty easy layup, in my opinion. But right after that, the next two possessions for the Spurs is, like I said, you would expect that they would try to get their stars involved a little bit more and kind of get them rolling with DeMar DeRozan and Aldridge. Well, they each scored coming into the second half on their first shot attempt. DeMar DeRozan had an easy layup, and then Aldridge had a pretty nice, pretty clean mid-range shot as well too. But it didn't really translate for much more because in the third quarter, Jokic and Murray really just kind of kept on going for the rest of the game and just kept on doing their thing. Now, Jokic didn't have a great game either shooting from the field. He wasn't very efficient, but Jamal Murray was. They each hit some big shots. It was like, this is kind of how the game went. If you're watching this, if you watch the game, you'd know. But basically how this happened was, it felt like the Denver Nuggets always had at least a 12 to 15 point lead. Sometimes it got a little bit higher, but for the most part, they had a 12 to 15 point lead on the Spurs the entire night, it felt like. And once the Spurs started coming back, Jokic or Jamal Murray would hit a big-time shot to kind of get the momentum back. But while they had the momentum, they were missing some shots, and then again, the Spurs would come back, and then boom, they'd hit another big shot as well too. So they hit the big shots. They weren't very efficient tonight, but they did have good games because they hit it when it needed to go in. So that's what I kind of thought. And also, I made a note here because I was watching the game, and I don't know if this is what everybody thinks as well too, but I'm starting to have this belief that the Jokic and Jamal Murray tandem is a much better scoring duo than DeMar DeRozan and Aldridge are. Now, again, they weren't very efficient. Neither tandems were, and it's probably easier to say that with Jamal Murray and Jokic, but it's like DeMar DeRozan, Aldridge, you guys are vets. Like, you need these. I mean, you don't have much time left in your careers. Aldridge, I think he's like 34, so he doesn't have a lot of time left. DeMar DeRozan, I don't know if he's 30 yet. I don't remember. You guys can check it for me if you want. But it's like you guys don't have a lot of time left. These two guys are young. I know they're playing an away game, but it's like they really showed out tonight against the Spurs duo. Now, jumping over into the fourth quarter now, I just had a few things that I wanted to highlight in the fourth quarter, and that was the first thing would be just how consistent Jokic has been throughout the game. Again, he didn't have a great game as far as efficiency goes, but when it came to the fourth quarter, him and Jamal Murray just kept on killing it. It was fantastic. And I feel like, obviously, they built this team around Jokic. When you have a player like Jokic who's a top 10 player, and even, I don't know if this causes some debate either, but I'll put Jokic over Joel Embiid as well, too. Not because Joel Embiid didn't really have a great game one against the Raptors. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm just saying that if I'm comparing them both to as far as what they bring to the table, as far as not being injury prone and things like that, I'm probably going to pick Jokic. That would be my pick for if I had to pick one. But one big thing that Jokic does so well is screening. I feel like every time I watch him, I feel like he sets like 3, 4, 5 screens a single possession. It feels like. Obviously, he doesn't do that, but he just has so many screens, and he frees up the team, and he can cut to the basket, or he can take the mid range, or he can float out to the 3-point line, or he can he can get the ball and look for the passing lanes. He just does so much, and I think that really comes down to his fundamentals as far as setting solid screens, and being able to free up not only himself to be able to roll or fade or whatever, but it's also to be able to free up the ball handler, or if it's on an off-ball screen, to be able to free up some of the shooters and things like that. Well, that was pretty much it, guys. I mean, it just came down to a lack of effort and shots not falling for the Spurs. As you can see, the Nuggets win tonight 90-86. So they win by 4 points. Jokic did have a triple-double, so big-time game for him. Big-time series as well, too, for the whole team and the whole town as well, too. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.